This is one of those wire frames. I've gone ahead, for those of you who want a translucent look, so I've wrapped my wire with maline that I sent you a video about. And then I've taken a long piece of maline, long enough to go around here, and I've pinned it in here. You can also stitch it along the top if you want. That makes it somewhat easy, although you have two different sides. So it's kind of messy and annoying process, but anyway you do it. But so what I've tried to do is make the excess kind of radiate towards the center here, okay? Because there is going to be a little excess unless you cut a pattern, which I wouldn't bother doing. Okay, all right, so I've done one side already. I think you can see the stitches in there. I made them rather bright so you could see them. You could see my old stitches from tacking in the maline in at the starts and ends. But this is the tacking down of one side, okay? So your stitches should match better, right? But again, this is going to be on the bottom of your head and it's probably going to be a lot of stuff around it. So, you know, if it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. Okay. So that's one side. I'm going to go around here and do the other side. And what I usually do is just fold this up like so. Oops, I'm going to go from the other end. And I'm going to do a bit of a back stitch here through the wrapped wire. You can also do a running stitch if you want to. It doesn't make that much difference. I like a back stitch because it's locking. And you can see I'm just going right above, holding the netting firmly, and then I slide the needle through the wrapping on the wire. So my needle is actually grazing, I'm gonna lose my thread. The needle is actually grazing the wire, so I can feel the wire next to. Up, little back stitch. Oops. Now there's all sorts of ways. On this one, I'm going to end up with a little raw edge sticking out. I'll trim it close. But if on some occasions you actually have to like fold this under and like a hem. It's not very often, but occasionally you do, and it's a pain in the butt. That's all there is to it. To tuck that under and stitch without, it's not fun. But for most of the time, you can do this. I don't know if you can see whether my hand is in the way or not. Let me get this maybe over a little bit more. It's hard for me to hear. I'll try to sew this way. Oops. Oops. I need one of those little third arm things. They have these little clamps that you can use. They have them in craft stores, and they clamp onto your object so you can use two hands to sew. I've never bought one, but they always look very tempting. Okay. All right, let me see if I can get the pin out of here so I can hit my finger a little closer. And you want this to be nice and taut. Now this base can also be used to attach feathers. You can sew feathers onto the uprights. You can glue and stitch lighter weight feathers to just the maline. If I wanted to do a lot, I might do more feathers in here to get more support for the main ones, and then, you know, maybe the lighter ones in between, just stitching and maybe combination stitching and gluing. That's usually good with lightweight feathers. The feathers that are wobbly, that don't have much of a core, much of a spine, those are the ones that usually need gluing anyway. All right, so I'm not going to make you watch this whole thing, but I think I've managed to hold it in enough ways that you can actually see what I'm doing, hopefully. I want to show you the back as well, of course, and then time for the thread to catch. All right, so I've got a line of back stitching running along here, and then I'm going to take my little trimmers and just trim that away as close as I can. And this is the back side, or the least visible side, whichever that is on your project.